Hi, and welcome back to Joshua chapter 10, picking up the story after the sun and the moon stand still. Joshua 10, verse 14 and 15. There has never been a day like this before or since when the Lord answered such a prayer. Surely the Lord fought for Israel that day. Then Joshua and the Israelite army returned to their camp at Gilgal. Never has there been such a day. The whole point, of course, being that God answered prayer when the Israelites were really crying out to God for a solution. When God's people throughout the Bible, throughout history, have cried out to God, there's been an answer. There's been a response from God that has brought them from where they are at currently to a place where they can really see God at work. And it's easy for us, I think, to cry out to God in desperation and sometimes not even give God the opportunity to answer that prayer or to make a decision in our own hearts beforehand how he's going to respond. And then we miss that opportunity to see God truly at work. If it's true that the Lord answers prayer, then sometimes we need to be patient. And of course, patience is one of these virtues that lots of people talk about and few of us have. And yet the reality is that for us to see God work in ways that really do make a difference, that change things, that bring eternal differences to bear, the power of an infinite God into a situation where we desperately need him to show up. If we allow him to do that, we see amazing things happen. Of course, the greatest miracle that any of us ever receive is not health or wealth. It's not provision, it's actually salvation. The Lord answering prayer for us as we cry out to him and say, God, we can't sort ourselves out. But so the biggest miracle of all is that of coming to faith in the first instance. And we go from darkness to light, from death to life. God has transformed us. He's translated us from one place to another. And we have a hope for all eternity. And in addition to that hope for all eternity, hope for what is yet future, we also have God in the here and now to do incredible things in our lives. Everyday lives, ordinary people meeting an extraordinary God. Surely the Lord fought for Israel. God wants to fight for you. God wants to bring the resources of heaven to bear on the challenges that you face. We were listening to a talk from Bethel just recently, and I think it was Bill Johnson who was speaking and talking about the fact that our challenges are invitations, if you like, for us to step up, step into all that God has for us as his people, step into a closer relationship, step into an intimacy of walk with God that we haven't experienced before, or at least haven't experienced for a long time. God wants to bring us back into that immediacy. So how is your walk with God today? Is it one where you feel you're growing a little cold? Is it one where the same old things happening every day just push God out? God wants to come back into a place of intimacy with you so that you can experience these amazing answers to prayer. And sometimes the answers to prayer are not those that we would wish for. It doesn't mean that God hasn't answered. It just means that the answer is different. And it's mindful of opportunities that we have in our lives when these things happen to say, God, but I'm still going to trust you. You are still good. Even though I didn't receive what I wanted or when I wanted it, when I felt it to be right, nevertheless, I'm going to trust you. Nevertheless, I'm going to give you the driving seat of my life. See, the Lord answers prayer. And it's obvious, it's nothing new to most of us, and yet it's a reality that sometimes we don't walk in, and God wants us to do that more and more for the honour of his name.